totally switching gears, taking this job, and it's been super exciting for me. I've spent the last 10 years working in higher education, and service has just been the name of the game for me. I love people. I love taking care of people. I see what transit is doing already. We have amazing drivers and amazing staff, and they're just treating people so well. And that's exciting for me. So I'm already acclimating. I love it. It's a good gig. I knew it would be. So I'm excited to be a part of Fairfield County. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the team. Impressive. Yes.
Aaron, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Good. Welcome. So, Aaron, if you don't mind me asking, going into the state budget conference, House and the Senate, we had reason to believe that transit was in trouble. And then somehow coming out of conference, we maybe think we weren't as much trouble as we thought we were.
Right.
So what's your read on that situation right now?
So our grant cycle started July 1st. And so leading up into that, April, May, June, we're waiting. There was talk that, there were going to be some cuts to the funding for transit. So we were crossing our fingers that we wouldn't have to make any service cuts. And then July 1st, the announcement was actually made, and transit did pretty well. So Fairfield County, we actually were able to increase our grant over 2025 significantly. So it's great. Yeah.
Look forward to working with you all as we improve the situation.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you being here.
I'll just add, us Rotarians know Brandie Hurd, she's a great member of Lancaster Rotary. That's nice having those connections. See somebody that you already know.
Familiar face. So I'm like, I like it.
Good deal. All right. And Ryan Erickson is here.
I'll spare Ryan from having to get up and speak at the mic, but I'm not sure how many years we've taken advantage of the MORPC internship, but Ryan is our summer intern this year, and he has also hit the ground running. We've got him doing all kinds of projects on the HR side, and then he's spending time with Bennett and Rochelle each week, but he has a lot of public sector family, and then he also has specifically county government. I can't remember the county, but his grandfather was a county commissioner. So we are thankful to have him.
Ryan, I'm not going to spare you. You're going to step up and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I am a student at Ohio State. I'm studying strategic communications and pursuing a job in human resources in the public sector. I came here to Fairfield County through MORPC, and I've really enjoyed my time so far, and hoping to continue on till the middle of August before I have to go back to school.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome to the team.
What county was your dad or grandfather?
My grandpa, he was a county commissioner for Trumbull County about 20 years ago.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right. So next we have a health insurance update from Jeff Porter.
Commissioners, everyone in the audience, everybody loves to talk about health insurance no matter what time of the day or how early it is. But we're going to talk a little bit about it today. And contrary to what you usually hear, not all of the news is bad. Actually, we have some good news. We're going to hit that running pretty quick here at the beginning. So here we are. Let's talk about some things. As a group, Fairfield County covers about 2,200 folks with health insurance. That's our employees and their families. And as a group, our emergency room usage has decreased 2% year over year. So that is unheard of in the area of emergency room usage. When we got that update from United Healthcare, it was a look of shock on their faces that we have been able to decrease emergency room usage. Likewise, our urgent care visits to urgent cares that are out there in the community have decreased 18.2%. Another another sign that we're doing the right things. And we attribute that to the use of our near-site wellness clinic that our employees have come to rely on and use in a consistent basis. Likewise, because of the use of our clinic, our employees have established relationships with primary care physicians. That is the first line of defense in healthcare and allowing folks to lead healthy lives and also make sure that their conditions are being treated when those conditions occur rather than waiting until something more serious happens. Our primary care physician usage and visits to primary care physicians up 3%. So commissioners, the actions that you've taken with our healthcare program have allowed us to start managing the costs of our medical costs in the program in an effective way. So that's something to be celebrated, and we wanted to bring that news to you today so that you could hear that. We are getting ready already to start renewal for 2026. So these figures have been presented to us to help us start with that track. As a reminder, our employees, their portion that they pay towards their health insurance each year for single coverage is listed up there, $1,622. That's what they pay in premium, 15% of the cost. Our families pay about $3,800 a year. That's their share of the cost per year in premium, with an 85-15% split towards that cost of insurance. So where is our health benefit plan experiencing pressure? And I think we can all guess what that pressure could be from. Prescription drug costs. Prescription drugs are miracles of modern science. They allow people to live with chronic conditions. They allow people to control chronic conditions. They also allow people to recover from what were previously unrecoverable conditions like cancer. But with every modern miracle, there's a cost associated and attached to it. And today, I think we just need to take a quick look at those at an example of a prescription drug and what the actual costs are to get our minds around why we're experiencing pressure with our health benefit plan, and especially in the area of prescription drugs. So, not to do a drug commercial here in the middle of the meeting, but we will. Welcome to the drug that we will all know now as Dupixent. I'm sure everybody has seen this drug on TV at one point or another. Generally, you have people frolicking on a beach or dancing around somewhere. I will not be the portly man in the room dancing my diabetic medication. But this is a medication that controls a variety of conditions. The reason it was chosen is that it is a popular drug right now, and it is used to treat a variety of conditions: eczema, asthma, COPD, a bunch of ones that I cannot pronounce, but they are largely inflammatory and skin diseases. And there were just two more conditions, both skin diseases, and both of those were recently approved uses for this drug. So we have a drug named Dupixent, used for a variety of conditions. We have people on the benefit plan who utilize this drug that help them control these conditions like COPD, asthma. Great thing to have happen. We also need to look at what is the cost of this drug and how does it impact situations. So, a single dose of Dupixent costs $3,804 a month. That is a conservative figure, one dose. If you have a severe condition, you may be using more than one dose of this medication per month. It is a pre-filled injectable pen. Typically, folks may be taking 1 or 2 pens a month, but a single dose, $3,804 a month. Total annual cost, if you're taking it once a month, $45,000. One drug, single dose. we have a program that we've been working with and we're utilizing to help control that cost. It's a patient assistance program. We've talked about this before. Impacts RX. Impacts RX aggregates all of the potential discounts that can come on that drug. And it's income driven. It's also rebate driven. It's aggregating all of the potential areas where we can save as a program on a particular drug. By utilizing Impacts RX, if our member would qualify, we could bring down the cost of a single dose to $951, thereby reducing the $45,000 annual cost down to $11,412 per year. Now, this program won't fit everybody. It's income driven. It's also based upon of other factors. But that is one tool in our tool belt that we can utilize to help bring down those costs for our benefit plan. And we want to bring awareness to it. And we also are going to be communicating even more than we already have about this program for our members, because these life-saving, life-changing drugs coming out all the time. We don't realize when our doctors prescribe them how much they really cost. So we're gonna be help bringing awareness to this. Finally, you can see this is just the savings that we generate from the actual use of Impacts RX. So ultimately saving our benefit plan $34,000 a year on a single dose of this drug could allow up to potentially 3 more people to be able to take this drug if necessary, if it's prescribed. Ultimately, that's going to help us control our costs, bring down the overall pharmacy costs. We can take steps for medical to direct people to primary care, to direct people to our clinic. We also have the opportunity with our pharmacy costs to help impact those potential cost swings. So as we begin our renewal, we are going to be looking at a variety of other options, including whether or not we're getting the best deal from our current pharmacy provider. We're also going to be looking at, and I think that everybody saw it in the paper the other day, there's a new 340B pharmacy that has been created by the health center here in town. A 340B is federal pharmacy pricing that exists that brings maintenance drug costs down. Partnering with an organization like that is also an option that's out there for pharmacy benefit plans. So rest assured, the HR team, our work with NFP, our brokers, and our partners, we're going to be looking at every option to keep controlling the costs. So once again, we appreciate the Commissioner's attention to these issues and their commitment to continue providing fair and affordable benefits for our employees and their families. Does anybody have any questions?
Commissioner Davis.
I have lots of questions, but out of respect for Sir Gary, anxious to hear about other issues. You might have to circle back later. But
Thanks. Commissioner Levesey.
So as one of the insurance companies' slogans are, "You're in good hands." With Jack, we're in good hands. You overseeing our healthcare. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, I continue to be amazed at how you and your team manage all this and continue to provide, really first-rate benefits for our entire 2,200 people in our plan and do it in a cost-effective way. So I, again, really appreciate your efforts. All right.
Oh, of course. I mean, Abby and Colleen, Amberly and Lori, they make up our team. We serve our employees, their families every day. I appreciate everything that they do for us, and we're lucky to have everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. All right. Next up, Corey on the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging. See, you can say it fast. Corey, looking forward to your update.
All right, thank you. And Yeah, so this is an update on the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging, and because I have a really hard time getting that out, I would like to refer to that as COAAA. Moving forward, with your permission, I have been participating on a task force with COAAA, and the purpose of this task force is to move the oversight of that entity from currently the City of Columbus Recreation and Parks Department to a regional council of governments. This task force is chaired by Delaware County Commissioner Jeff Benton, as well as Fran Ryan. Interesting to note that Fran Ryan was on Columbus City Council in the 70s when the decision was made to put COAAA under the parks, and she acknowledged that while it made a lot of sense at the time, 50 years later, there are a lot of obstacles and challenges involved with that, and is the reason that they would like to make a change. So this has also been done with the consultation of MORPC and the law firm of Bricker and Graydon. They've been helping out with this process as well. We've had a series of 3 meetings to discuss this. And what at its core, what they are asking and wanting to do is to take the 8-member counties of COAAA, which is Franklin, all the contiguous counties, plus Fayette County. So those 8 counties would come together to form a council of governments, which would then be the oversight for COAAA. Also interesting is that they will provide services in those 8 counties, whether the county joins the COG or not. I think the motivation for us to consider joining the COG, and I would recommend that we do, is that we have a seat at the table. So either the services are going to be provided in Fairfield County, really without any influence or participation by us, or we can have a seat at the table and be involved in those to, provide our local insight as to what we think is best for our community. This COG would be set up to have at the top a council, and this council would be the legislative body of the COG, and it would be 1 representative for each of the 8 counties. That representative could be a county commissioner, or it could be the county administrator. That council will meet at least once a year, more than that if necessary, but they have it set up currently to meet once a year, and they would be passing any necessary resolutions or anything to continue to operate. And then they would have a board of directors below that council. Those representatives would be selected by the county commissioners for their county, and each county would have representation based on population. So Franklin County would have 6 members on the board of directors. We would have 3 members on the board of directors, as would Delaware and Licking counties. Some of the smaller counties would have 1 or 2 members on that board of directors. They request that those members of the board of directors be people who have some type of subject matter experience, whether they work directly with the older population or something in a similar field that impacts that. So the ask from COAAA is for the counties to pass resolutions to 1, agree to join the COG, and to 2, appoint a member to be on the council. So again, the services would continue in Fairfield County and the other 7 counties, regardless of whether or not we join, but we have the opportunity to participate. So I think it is well worth it. I would anticipate your first questions probably being, how much does it cost and what's the risk involved in this? So there is no cost for the first 2 years. They debated on having membership dues, really not because they need those funds for their administrative costs, but because they wanted to have kind of skin in the game, and they wanted the counties to have somewhat of a financial component. But they decided initially not to do that for the first 2 years, and then to allow the board of directors to make a recommendation as to whether or not there should be a financial commitment in the future. They estimated that that commitment at that time would probably be between $500 and $1,000 a year, so it's not a huge amount, or one that would probably on its own prevent us from wanting to participate. As far as risk is concerned, they will be fully insured. They are going through this process and retaining a law firm to help them through that process and make sure that they get everything set up correctly. I've been impressed with the level of organization that they have with assistance both from MORPC and from the law firm of Bricker and Graydon. They have provided drafts of the agreement to join the COG, the bylaws of the COG, for us to review, and also a resolution, sample resolution to appoint a member to the council. The prosecutor's office has been kind enough to review those documents. One thing that they pointed out was the determination to withdraw from the COG. If we on the road to withdraw from the COG, it does require at least a 6-month notice, and it would be effective at the end of the fiscal year, the state fiscal year. So that's something to note and decide whether or not you're comfortable with that. Yes.
Representatives on the council.
Yeah, so the council would be one representative per county. The board of directors, Fairfield County would have 3 representatives because that one is based on population.
Take this separate, then we appoint someone to the council.
Correct.
Yes, all those.
Correct.
How discerned,
You also determine that.
we would pick 4 appointments.
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
I'm going to jump in with a question too. Can you talk about how the COAAA is funded today, or why there's not a need for financial resources?
Yeah, so the COAAA is largely funded under the Older Americans Act. And they serve kind of, depending on the county, in Fairfield County, we are fortunate to have a very strong local entity, Meals on Wheels, the senior hub, that directly provides the majority of the services that come through COAAA. I spoke with Anna Tobin yesterday about her thoughts on it. She's very supportive of the concept, thinks it would be a good way to, continue successful relationship moving forward. COAAA does provide some direct services specific to the passport program, but for the majority of the things that they provide, they're a funder. They provide grants to these local entities, and as Anna indicated, they are the largest funding source for our local Meals on Wheels for various programs.
Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner, may I add?
Yeah.
I appreciate Corey doing this. This kind of came up very quickly, these 3 planning sessions, and I was not able to attend them. So I appreciate him doing so in my absence and bringing back all the information. There are drafts prepared for next week's meeting for you all to consider the appointment of an individual to the council. I am offering up myself to serve in that role if that's what you would desire. And the other resolution would be actually joining the COG and adopting the bylaws. Following that would be the opportunity to make the board appointments, of which we have 3.
That's correct. Any other questions?
Other than originally when it was under the parks, I always thought that was a little strange. But
It is a bit of a head scratcher, yes. But in mid-70s, it may have made sense at that time. So it also is, to have it under one city in an 8-county region, that brings a lot of challenges as well.
Thank you for investing time in this court.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so this is the section of the meeting where we have public comment. So I would ask anybody who does not want to talk about solar, but has a public comment, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. It looks like we're going to have a long morning. Morning, Ray.
Morning. It's really makes one think when we look at all the things that we as citizens of this county expect as far as services under the direction of the county commissioners. The responsibility is amazing compared to what it was when we first moved here, my wife and I, in 1970. To take care of this growing number of elderly like myself and the workers, there's a cost. And it really is up to the commissioners and the people that work under them to do the best job they possibly can for the people. And this takes a lot of wisdom. And wisdom only comes from the Word of God, Bible. And I do want to pray for you people. Lord, we come before you this morning, humbly asking, Lord, that you guide and direct these people that are working for us, the elderly, and the entire population of this county. Help them to make the right decisions. And Lord, may they have the wisdom to turn to you for guidance. We know, Lord, it takes a lot of cooperation to do this work. And we pray it all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Ray. Anybody else would like to address the commission about anything but solar? Okay. Thank you all for being here today. Amy, do we have a legal update? All right, Ani, it's on you for the county administration update.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. We are pleased to announce that we did receive 2 awards from the National Association of Counties. One for our work with grant writing and grant seeking from Hicks Partners. And then the second one for the comprehensive plan that we had with our work with Planning Next. So both of them having definitely a workforce and economic development feel. So appreciative to Rick and his team, and also Jeff for the writing of those particular submissions. We are right up there again with the larger counties in the state that are receiving this recognition. So very pleased. Was that your yay? Yes. Pleased to be among the larger counties that are receiving the recognition for the work that we're doing. I forget the total that this brings our awards to, but I think we're in double digits. For sure.
It was only, Warren County was the only non-metro county to win.
Good work.
So yes, very exciting. House Bill 96 on June 30th, the governor signed the state's operating budget for fiscal years 26 and 27 and vetoed 67 items from the bill. 2 chambers would have to override the vetoes with a 3/5 vote before the December 26th expiration of the General Assembly. Of note, and that the special lodging tax for the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio now has an ability to be renewed by the Board of Commissioners. Prior to that, it would have automatically sunset. So that is the ability to renew in 15-year increments. The Workforce Center will also be receiving $700,000 in funding specifically for programs there. So very excited about that. Rick, do you want to talk about the $700,000?
Yeah, and just thanks to Representative Laura and Senator Schaefer. Our Workforce Center is still one of a kind in the state. So there's no ongoing way to fund it. State and commissioners have both been very generous in helping this forward, but this will cover our high school programming for the next 2 years. So we'll continue to work with our schools to come up with a long-term plan, but this gets us through the next 2 school years. Again, we can even add.
And definitely a thank you to both Representative LeRae and Senator Schaefer for the work on both of these, and appreciate Commissioner Levacy's advocacy as well on both of them, all commissioners, but specifically Commissioner Levacy, you were trying to carry the water here on these 2 issues, so appreciate that. HR 1 was passed by Congress, so it is that season of actions here. And what I will note here is that final bill did include several provisions affecting the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, which our local job and family service does administer. So with that, it will reduce the federal match for SNAP administration from 50% down to 25%. If no other administrative factors change, Ohio's portion of the cost will increase by $65 million per fiscal year, beginning in October of 26. In Ohio, the state and counties share the cost of administration. So this shift could increase administrative costs by up to $40 million per fiscal year per counties, beginning at that same point in time, October of 26. For the first time in history, the program states will also be required to contribute to the cost of SNAP benefits beginning on October 1st, 27. This change occurs in the next state budget biennium. This required state share increases if a state has a higher error rate. So the error rate is a measure of the administrative error and includes both underpayments and overpayments. In federal fiscal year 28, Ohio can use either its federal fiscal year 25 or federal fiscal year 26 error rate to determine that payment amount. In fiscal year 29 and subsequent years, Ohio will be required to use the error rate from the 3 fiscal years prior. Might be interested to learn, what is Ohio's recent error rate? It is 9.01. And under that, the legislation, Ohio would need to contribute $320 million per state fiscal year if the error rate does not decrease below 8%. So CCAO, as well as the Ohio Job and Family Services Directors Association, are keeping a close eye on this and working with the state because this would have a significant impact not only at the state level, but at the county level as well. Sure.
There's an error rate. Comes to then that there's been an error. Where did that error occur?
So the administration is at the county level. So those would be at the caseworker level in each county.
And if we know the state error rate is 9.01% or something like that,
Yes.
there must be some database then that would reveal our local error rate.
Yes, there is. I do not know the number and I'm not sure Corey does.
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can certainly.
And typically, the 3 larger counties, Hamilton, Franklin, and Cuyahoga, drive that error rate. I mean, pretty much whatever the 3 of them are doing, the rest of the state follows just because of their size.
I suspect, and I guess I am curious about our local error rate to the extent that that collective error rate drive costs. I want to know if we're contributing to that problem or
Sure.
part of the solution.
Yep, we'll get that.
I can say that our local error rate is always well below the state average.
Yeah, and I'm just saying pretty good.
And we certainly can. But I will keep you updated as we learn more from the Job and Family Services Directors Association and CCAO as well. I have been invited to speak at the JFS Directors Association executive meeting and anticipate getting additional information on all budget items related to JFS there. Highlights of resolutions. The review packet does contain a list of administrative approvals, and there are 44 resolutions on the agenda for the regular voting meeting today. The first resolution for your consideration is a resolution to oppose the proposed Carnation solar project in Amanda, Ohio. The staff of the Ohio Power Siting Board is completing their investigation and subsequent staff report, and the county has been notified that resolutions for or against the project should be received by July 18th of this year. The Commissioner's Office also has 6 financial resolutions on the agenda, including one to accept the tax rates that have been determined by the county's Budget Commission. This resolution authorizes the auditor to collect the special levy funds that have been authorized by voters. Dr. Brown, would you like to add anything to that?
It's retroactive.
The engineer's office has a resolution to approve the contract bid award to Oglesby Construction, Inc. for the 2025 pavement markings project. Jeremiah, anything there?
I just wish we could afford to do more of it, but pavement markings are incredibly expensive and they typically don't last very long. And it's a challenge for us to get pavement markings down that we really need. I just thought I'd add that in along with it. We do this we can. Always do a little bit better.
All right, thank you very much. And JFS is the winner of the number of resolutions today with 19, consisting of 2 memo receipt resolutions for transportation, 16 resolutions related to network placements, and a resolution for a non-monetary MOU. The MOU is with Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, the Lancaster Police Department, the Pickerington Police Department, and Fairfield County's Probate Court, Prosecutor's Office, and Coroner's Office for elder safety support and independent services. Corey, anything else there?
Defer to Sarah.
You're shifting the blame that way?
We're just grateful for the partnership we had to develop that MOU. It was pretty easy to
All right, thank you. Sarah, anything?
This is just another way for us to collaborate and contribute.
Wonderful. Thank you both for being here. Regional Planning has a resolution to establish a drainage maintenance district for the Heron Crossing South subdivision. Not sure if we've got anybody from Regional Planning here today. Okay. Sheriff's Office has a resolution for a service agreement with the Lancaster Board of Education to continue policing services with the district. And lastly, Transit has 2 resolutions, one to approve an application for the 25 certification and assurances from the ODOT Office of Transit, and the other approves the 25-26 application for a Meals on Wheels grant. So hopeful that they will continue to be awarded through that process with Meals on Wheels as they have been in the last few years. Let's see, Rochelle, calendar review and invitations received, please.
Thank you. On calendar review, we have a Soil and Water Conservation District's annual meeting, which is coming up on September 11th, and that will be held at the Millersport Lions Clubhouse. We have correspondence that was received, the AEP Ohio June 17th construction notice regarding West Lancaster, South Baltimore. There was a 138 kV transmission line adjustment project. And then there was multiple pieces of correspondence regarding large-scale solar facilities. That was it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner.
All right, thank you. So we're going to do quick updates on elected officials and department heads. Tiffany, you got anything for us today?
No updates for me. Thanks.
Brandon?
Good morning. The Legal Help Center that opened up last month is going really well. For those that don't know, there's a free legal help center next door to the Hall of Justice on the first floor. It's open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 9 to noon and 12:30 to 3 o'clock. And they've been busy all day, every day. So it's going really well.
Good. Thanks for putting that together. Lisa?
I just want to say that we have an employee that is going to be leaving our office to go work with the treasurer's office through the land bank. And I just wanted to thank them for the courtesy and the being able to work together through this transition. They were very easy to talk with and work through this so that this employee can go on to something that fits her lifestyle much better. So I appreciate the courtesy and the way that we worked through this.
I enjoy working with Lisa. So I agree. That's good cooperation. So I thank you very much. As you know, we're in the middle of second half collection. The taxpayers who come to the building to pay taxes are very appreciative of the parking spots out front, utilizing those. So we're working through that. Notice was in the paper last Thursday as to the due date, the 17th. There'll be another notice this Thursday, the due date next week. I'm also, one of the things I volunteer for the community is I sit on the 4th of July committee. We had a great day, 4th of July. The weather cooperated. We had a big crowd. We had great fireworks. And also I want to thank EMA. EMA is extremely helpful. They have the command center there. Luckily, to my knowledge, we had no issues. Everything.
Other than some bad haircuts. Long story.
But everyone got along well. Also, EMA helps us in our communication. So It's a great partnership, and we do appreciate John and his folks for helping us out. Thank you.
You, Dr. Brown.
All the tax incentive review council meetings have concluded. And since we last met, we had the issuance of the annual comprehensive financial report, as well as the popular annual financial report. And in your review folder, you have certain excerpts from that about reports that I think are of interest to the commissioners, such as things that relate to the bond rating. Also want to mention that the platform of DocLink is being used successfully with the budget commission meetings now. It is one of great efficiency, and we have a lot of good feedback from multiple political subdivisions, particularly schools. The sexennial update has been approved by the state last week, so you will be receiving letters in the mail relating to the property valuations in July. So all residential property owners will receive a letter. Along with that letter will be indication of the number of different ways that you can have an informal meeting. You can do this by phone, you can do it in person, and we can schedule times specifically at multiple places throughout the county. Next week, I'll put in your review folder the list of the specific dates and times and how one can schedule those, because I know that sometimes you all get questions about that as well. The Madison County Financial Fiscal Watch meeting was held this past week. And during that meeting, there was a question that came up about lodging taxes. And interestingly, the same question came up with Bern Township this past week. There's a misunderstanding that the 3% lodging tax for the Visitors and Convention Bureau and the 1.5% for the Decorative Arts Center, these are county-wide aspects. There's a misconception by a few that that can be requested to be used in a different way, and it cannot. That's a very specific purpose for that. And so I've advised the township trustees if they're looking for other resources relating to lodging taxes to connect with the prosecutor's office, because it'll differ for each township based upon where they are now. For example, Violet Township already has some, and there's just different sections of the code. But we do want to make sure that we have good communication partners and that people understand that that's a county-wide service, tourism, and but there isn't a way that the commissioners can direct those particular percentages to a different purpose. I'm just sharing that with you because it came up twice in 1 week. It's very much appreciative of the associations and how they're working with property tax reform and the aspects of potential veto override. There's a lot of conversations about the 20 mil floor, the budget commission ability to change rates, and the restrictions on levy themselves. Those are the three things that tend to have people's attention.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Jeremiah, anything else?
So I just got back from vacation, family, so I'm pretty much in the dark. But I did find out yesterday that we got an additional $1.7 million for the election house Coon Path intersection. So that totals about $3.7 million, which closes our funding gap that we had with the increase in real estate costs and whatnot. So we'll be able to move forward on that. Start discussing what we're going to do with design plans and things. That project's still it's probably looking more like 2027 be hard, more like a 2028 project, that kind of time frame. All I got.
Okay. Josh, welcome.
Sitting on vacation this week. We've got 3 new projects starting off. Village Department, we're looking at new iron coders, water plants, new lift station at Greenfield to help further development there. And then a new digest for a test road facility, trying to help us buy biosolids, so agricultural. And we're doing 3 new projects with the Village Builders Program helping them. They're doing a wastewater plant upgrade, a water treatment plant upgrade, install a new water tower with deep under development.
Yeah. Good. Appreciate your work. Good.
Another thing from the budget, and thank you to Commissioner Levesey for his efforting on this, was a line item veto from the governor. They were going to remove the data center sales tax exemption program that is very successful and has brought a lot of business to the state. Also would have a direct impact on village work. So, the governor did strike that from the budget, which is very helpful for the project, a lot of benefits.
President, ask a question.
Please.
So, Rick, a number of us are trying to figure out what's next from the state budget process and anticipate that some number of the 67 vetoes may be challenged in an override attempt. Are you hearing anything about that particular issue in terms of whether there will or won't be a veto override attempt on that?
I have not heard anything, but I'll like check and see what that looks like. The one thing this does, at least for our project, buy us enough time probably to get it first, but I'll check and see what I can get. I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure. John?
As Jim mentioned, we started our event season, which is always a fun time. We'll be quite busy this month. And then we had some severe weather. The nation's seen a lot of severe weather. So just a friendly reminder to sign up for notification systems, have a weather radio. Just keep saying it over and over again. And they're important and you should pay attention to them and know your surroundings.
Good much. Dan?
Along those lines, we update quarterly the employee information into the notification system. That process has been going on for a couple of years. And we just went through that, so nothing further, Mike.
Okay, Corey.
Just quickly, in keeping with the state budget impacts for JFS, two of the things that we were happy to see made it into the budget were increase for child protection funding and the wellness centers that they had proposed that then got taken out, got put back in. So there is money designated for child wellness centers, which will be helpful in our effort partnership that we have with the County.
Thanks, Jeff. Anything else?
No. Thank you.
All right, old business, Commissioner Davis.
No, I do want to alert my colleagues to the likelihood that at some point today, I'll ask for an executive session on the potential sale or transfer of real property.
Okay. Any old business, Commissioner Levesey?
So, but last week before, I guess, we had a celebration for Anchor Hawkins' 120th anniversary, which is pretty amazing, quite frankly, for any company to survive as long as Anchor has. I attended, the mayor was there and also Treasurer Bonson. We presented them with a proclamation from the commissioners. I was able to speak, and then I twisted Treasurer Bonson's arm and asked him to speak because he was also a former employee of Anchor, and it was a nice event. But again, we're very, very appreciative of the hard work Anchor's done over the years. Remembering back when I worked there in the 60s, it was the only game in town. You either worked there or you had a relative who worked there or you knew somebody that worked there. And not the case today, but it's a great company.
All right, I have no old business, new business, Commissioner Levesey.
I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
No, thank you.
I don't either. Other than I will be out next week. Family vacation. I know I've missed a couple meetings in the past couple months due to business travel, but this one's for fun. Looking forward to it. All right, we will go up top for our voting pattern. If you're able, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any announcements?
There are none.
Is there a motion for the approval of the minutes of the June 24th meeting?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lefty? David?
Yeah.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Minutes passed. Commissioners, Resolution 2025-7.8.a, a resolution to oppose the proposed Carnation Solar LLC solar power project in Amanda, Ohio.
Second. So for discussion, we're gonna, as I mentioned at the top of the meeting, we're gonna ask anybody who is in favor of the Carnation Solar Project to get up and speak first. We ask that you come to the podium, give us your name and your address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes if you can, because there's a lot of you here today. And then after we've heard from everybody who is a proponent of Carnation Solar Project, we will ask anybody who is an opponent of the Carnation Solar Project. And once all of those folks have been heard, then we will ask anybody who's neutral but wants to be heard. And once that's done, we'll go through our voting pattern. So anybody who is a proponent for the Carnation Solar program, please step up to the podium now and speak your piece.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. My name is Brenda Metcalf, and I live at 922 Madison Avenue in Lancaster, Ohio. Lived here my entire life, and I do want to talk to you about this project. So a couple of things. I know that change can be scary, and I was trying to read up some information. Quite honestly, I didn't even know this meeting was going to happen today, so I wish I had more time to speak on it. But I will say just a few points that are super important. First of all, it's obvious that in the world of energy sources, all of our energy sources that we are currently using, the majority of them are non-renewable. We can't plant and grow more coal. And because of that, we do need to think about alternative energy sources. And obviously, solar is one of the easiest to do in our community. So a couple of other things. This land is being leased. It's not being sold. So I feel like that's a super important detail that I wasn't aware of before. And because of that, it's not a done deal. So yes, they're leasing the land, but they are also going to be able to plant other crops on that property. Another thing, in the last few decades, pollinators have decreased quite a bit, and farmers need those to survive and for their produce to survive and their products to survive. And this land can be planted with a habitat, a pollinator habitat that's native plants, and that will increase our wildlife and floral in the area, which I think would make it so much more pretty. Also, in that mindset, there are some, I know you're not going to be able to see these, but I do have a few pictures. In the world of pollinator gardens, beautiful one actually at Denison University at their solar array is gorgeous. I would much rather be looking at a wildflower garden than a housing development or a strip mall. This project would also be bringing in a lot of community support, jobs for the community. It would help our students learn a new trade, and there's a great investment for the community as well. I think that overall, we need to be thinking forward instead of backward and think about how this can affect our community in a good way and provide us with an alternative fuel source. And I know that, again, money is a very big issue in our county, and this will bring in money to our county. So I thank you for the time.
Thank you. Who would be next?
Morning. My name is Chris Snyder. My address is 5810 State Route 13, Somerset. I am the project developer for Dronwell Power. I have been with Dronwell Power over 4 years and helped develop 4 of our 5 projects in the state, including Ross County Solar, Ross County, Fayette Solar, Fayette County, Dyson Creek, and Highland County, which all 3 of these projects are in operation. Sycamore Creek and Crawford County will be in production later this year. As you can see, Geronimo Power has a strong presence and expertise in the state. We are committed to being a good neighbor from early development to operation. For the 4 projects that I have helped develop, I've worked directly with county commissioners and county engineers to negotiate the pilot and enrollment agreements. I still have contact with several of these county commissioners. Our relationships last long. I am the lead developer for the Carnation project. And I am your contact person for this project. If you have any questions or concerns, come to me. Over the last years, I've actively engaged with the Commissioner's Engineer's Office and Amanda Township trustees. Last September, commissioners passed a resolution to ban future solar projects in the county, except those projects that have been grandfathered by the state. There can only be 2 solar projects in the county. Please don't let these projects get away from our participating landowners and their rights to diversify their income, their land, and additional tax revenue for the county. A majority of our Carnation landowners, farmers, and or make their livelihood. As a fellow farmer of over 20 years, I understand the hardship and the economic unpredictability of modern farming. If they can financially improve their way of life for their families, they should not be denied that right. The commissioners have talked about solar projects and the need to have all the evidence before making a decision. I hope this still holds true today. I encourage the commissioners not to make a decision to the high power siting holds the evidentiary hearing in September, when all the evidence of the project is submitted. At Geronimo Power, we work on the project as a team.
Please conclude your remarks, sir.
Okay. With me today are other members of the team, including Kendra Harrington, Courtney Whitworth, Samantha Meadows, and Jane Hall. I have included some additional support letters from our landowners who are unable to make it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would be next?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kendra Harrington. I'm Manager of Project Development with Geronimo Power, formerly known as National Grid Renewables. I oversee our Ohio and Michigan portfolios, supporting our team on the ground to identify, secure, and permit high-quality energy infrastructure projects. Specifically, my role in this team involves managing our overall project risks, the budget, and collaborating closely with other departments like permitting, interconnection, engineering, construction, and so on to ensure that our projects are delivered on time and within budget. As Chris stated, Geronimo Power is not new to developing in Ohio. We've successfully developed 5 projects across the state that are either in construction or currently operating. We have a long-standing history here of responsibly developing, constructing, owning, and operating our projects. Chris Snyder is your main point of contact and comes with a plethora of knowledge given his experience on 4 of those 5 projects. Being a farmer-founded company, we pride ourselves on responsible development practices, offering new opportunities to landowners for revenue, and building strong, long-lasting community partnerships. We believe we have a responsibility and a duty to be a positive influence in those communities we serve. And we do have a proven track record of doing just that. Commissioners, while we understand you are considering formally opposing the Carnation Solar Project, we respectfully ask for you to consider what would be denied to the community at large. This project is expected to generate over $1.2 million in annual tax revenue to the county under a pilot agreement. Over a 20-year period, That's approximately $2.9 million to Amanda Township and $12.4 million to local schools. Not to mention the charitable fund that's equal to $710,000 over a 20-year period that is direct economic support to the community's unique local needs. Before you make a decision, please consider waiting until you've heard all of the information at the upcoming OPSB hearings.
Please conclude your remarks.
I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Morning. My name is Ben Vandergalen, and I'm 8389 Slow-Ridge Drive in Cincinnati. I'm a high school economics teacher, and I'm also the educational director of Wind and Sky Apiaries. Our mission is to help protect the planet by growing healthy bee populations. 1 out of every 3 bites of food that you'll have today can be traced back to pollinators. Honeybees are the keystone species in our $50 billion agricultural ecosystem. That system is in trouble. Last 75 years, the number of hives in America has decreased by half. Recent environmental reporting says that last winter we lost half of what was left. America's beekeepers are battling the problem. We need to do more. At Wind and Sky, we partner with forward-thinking companies like Geronimo to place hives on projects like the one proposed here in Carnation. By doing so, we aim to practice beekeeping at restorative scale to benefit us all. However, I'm not here today as an economist or ecologist. I'm here as an educator. I've spent 25 years working with young people. Last 20 have been inside the walls of the classroom. For the first 5, I worked outside. I worked with folks in the AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, with our National Park Service. At Wind and Sky, our educational program endeavors to blend the best classroom and field techniques to enrich the lives of students. Projects like Carnation are rare opportunities to root science curriculum in a local and authentic experience. An opportunity to partner with FFA and other charities. An opportunity to have kids grow alongside a growing bee population. We hope that these kids develop a sense of pride that they come from a community that's pursuing solutions rather than just reading about the problems. As a park educator in the desert Southwest, I would often conduct lessons inside the ancient rock structures that dotted the landscape. For most school groups, it was a school field trip. For the local kids from the reservation, it meant more. That history was theirs. Cancellation of this project would close the door that would have allowed us to build an educational partnership. Strips away the chance for teachers to amplify the curriculum, increase their students' sense of stewardship. That's why I speak for the team at Wind and Sky Apiaries. I hope that you let this project go through so that someday your students and kids can look out upon that solar field, see its ecological and environmental value, feel proud that it's truly theirs.
Thank you.
Sure, I'm sorry, it's a long one. My students call me Mr. Van. It's Ben Van Udenau. So sorry, it was my fault.
Still don't have it.
That's my Mr. Van. The emails add up over the course of the year.
My name's Jebin Williams. I live on 1698 Pleasant View Drive here in Lancaster. Now, I have a big speech, but to me, I'm going to cover something that is important to me. I'm a huge supporter of solar for the simple reason it safeguards the rights of landowners, business owners. Farming is a business. It's a source of income. Let's not anybody's personal opinion on solar, especially mine, affect the outcome of somebody else's business. That's borderline criminal. I don't agree with it. I think those people should have every right to do what they want with their property for their income and the stability of their future. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Travis Snyder. I live at 65 Wright Road, Greenfield. And I'm the executive director of Frontline Hives, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping veterans and first responders find purpose and community through the practice of beekeeping. Here's a little bit of why I'm here. I've served 18 years in the United States military, including deployments to Afghanistan. And like many who have served, I came home with something I didn't leave with, PTSD. As someone who struggled with this, I can tell you
that it's a very dark and very lonely time. In fact, in 2024, statistics have showed that every single day, 17 veterans die by suicide. That's 17 too many. Frontline hives exist to do our part to change that. We train our participants in beekeeping, a practice that has been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. The good this program attached to this Carnation Solar Project has done is already seen in this county. 7 residents in just our first year have already committed. 2 of our graduates have already said they would like to keep 30 hives on the project themselves. Frontline Hive has an idea that your constituents, through our organization, find community and once again a larger sense of purpose through servanthood. So how does this connect to the Carnation Solar Project? Together with our partners, this solar project provides the land, the resources, and the long-term opportunity to empower these veterans and first responders with a possible renewed sense of purpose, income, and a sense of community that they may be missing. Again, in our first year, 7 participants from this county alone. The best part is it won't cost a thing, not to the county or the township, but it will deliver something priceless, a future for those who serve our country and our communities. Fairfield County is a county full of people who rose up to historical moments. These are great Americans who did not shy away from the moment, but rather, when that moment showed up, they chose to serve others because that's what the moment demanded of them. Today I ask, what does this moment demand from you? More. By supporting our Carnation Solar Project, this county can once again rise up to the moment by supporting local veterans and first responders. I ask you not to weigh the view of this solar project, but the vision. What kind of future will Fairfield County help build? One rooted in nostalgia or one rooted in purpose? I'm asking you to see the full picture, not just the solar panels, but the people, the purpose, patriotism, and the future for this county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your service.
My pleasure. You are more than worth it.
Hello, my name is Courtney Whitworth. Our office is 8400 Normandale Lake Boulevard, Bloomington, Minnesota. Hello, commissioners. I reintroduce myself. My name is Courtney Whitworth. I'm the permitting lead for the Carnation Solar Project, as well as the permitting lead for other solar and wind projects in the United States. I've been with the company for almost 7 years. The past 3 or 4 years have been really focused in Ohio. I've had the opportunity to oversee our four of our 5 solar projects in Ohio through construction and some into operations. I work closely with Chris and Kendra, who you've already heard from. They're on the development team. I'm on the permitting team. Our role tends to be a little more technical and behind the scenes. My responsibilities include overseeing our environmental surveys and managing the Ohio Power Siting Board permitting process. That includes the preparation of the over 3,000-page permit application. I know you've all seen it. Really big binders. There's a lot of information in there. Different studies on and topics on noise, drain tile, road use, vegetation management, visual mitigation, and a lot more. Carnation will be subject to the same long list of permit stipulations as other OPSB projects, similar to Eastern Cottontail. This will require setbacks, construction hour restrictions, noise limits, visual screening from neighbors, and more. I want to ensure you the Carnation team has spent months upon months to studying the project area, evaluating possible impacts, creating mitigation strategies, and packaging it all up in those big binders for the OPSB review and your review. The next steps are for OPSB to issue a staff report, as we all know, in a few weeks, then host a local public hearing in August, and the evidentiary hearing in September. We urge the county commissioners to hold on taking a position until you have all of the information after the hearings, or at a minimum after the staff report. That report will summarize the possible impacts and the recommended stipulations in that over 3,000 application. Please wait until you have all the evidence to make an informed decision. We appreciate your time today. If you have any questions, we're all here to answer. Reach out to Chris. We're here for support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is H. James Stevenson, and my address is 301 East Main Street, across the street, Lancaster, Ohio. I'm here to speak in favor of the project, and also to enjoy one of your delicious cookies. I am the trustee of the Mary B. Allen Trust, which owns 300 acres in Amanda Township. It's the northern part of the solar project. Give you an idea where it's located. When they first approached me in 5 years ago about signing a lease to put the farmland in the solar project, we were in favor of it for two reasons. One, we needed the money. The farm is small enough that it doesn't generate enough rent to keep the family of four going. And secondly, we were in favor of solar because it's better than coal-fired plants. So we encourage you to continue your interest in the solar project for three reasons. One, financially, in the trust, we need the income to continue to support the family. Secondly, we are interested in solar versus, say, coal. Basically, this solar project shut down one coal factory, one coal producing power plant. It would be a real benefit. And third, the taxes that this solar project will produce for this county will be immense. And for that reason, we suggest and urge you to continue your interest in this and approve the resolution.
Thank you, sir.
My name is David Morrow. My address is 304 Shellbark Road, Marysville, Ohio. As I said, my name is Dave Morrow. I'm a business representative with the Carpenters Union. I work for Local 200, and we represent members for Local 200 and 356 within 17 counties of Ohio. 200 of our members live in this county, and they will benefit directly from this project if it gets passed and approved. It's my hope that this project gets approved not only for the residents, but for all the apprentices, journeyman persons, and millwrights that live and work in this community. These members not only show up to work in the elements, but also bring training, certifications, safety to job sites that UBC members are on. Our apprenticeship not only teaches solar installation, but the framing, drywall, scaffolding, OSHA, blueprint reading, and over 20 other skills that members of this community will be able to use when this solar project is over, building new schools, bridges, and businesses that will come to the area. We do not have any agreement with the developer Geronimo. However, we have worked on past projects with them. All of them have gone really well. We've always been on time and under budget with them. They share the same values that we do when it comes to constructing solar fields, that everyone deserves livable wages, benefits, local jobs for local people, and that no one working 40 hours a week should have to make the decision between putting food on the table or taking their kids to the doctor. The tax incentives and things like that. I know many members that I've spoke to that have to vote no on levies coming along because they just can't afford that increase in their taxes. The tax incentives from this project could greatly benefit that and our members. So again, I would like to put our support on this project. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tony Miller. My address is 4340 Sand Hill Road, Amanda, Ohio. I'm here representing my husband and his brother-in-law and my brother-in-law and myself as 2L Farms. We are one of the people who have leased part of our farms. My husband started farming around Amanda 74, 75. He has built a business. He inherited nothing. He and his brother have worked hard to have this land. They have no other jobs. They didn't work anyplace else. This is their retirement. having that money coming in from the 70 acres that we have put in is going to enable them to have the retirement that they would like to have. Also, when we did the research on the solar, and anybody who knows me, I taught school for 30 years. Everything's got to be researched to the max. When I did my research on the project, I liked what I saw and what they had done before and some of the things that were going on there. And I've had a question about where are we going to get the electricity? My father was a master electrician. And as I look around, we keep adding houses to Fairfield County, and we keep adding in those houses more and more and more electrical devices. At some point, we have to generate electricity. And a solar project will do that. I read an article the other day that the company who runs the 12-state grid is saying that they're not going to be able to make peak if the heat stays the way it is, and then in 5 years, without new production, they're not going to be able to meet demand. That's frightening. The last thing I want to say is to the commissioners, we all need to look at who we are. We're Americans. This is not a democracy. This is a republic. And the wants of the many do not outweigh the needs of the one. We're established on personal property rights. One person's rights cannot be taken away just because everybody else doesn't like it. My father fought in World War II. My brother spent 20 years in the Navy. I have nephews and nieces who are serving today, and they are not fighting so that other people can tell individuals what to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Samantha Meadows. I live at 80 North High Street, Chillicothe, Ohio. I am the community advocate for Carnation Solar. I started in March of this year. Prior to that, you might see a familiar face in the crowd named Jane Harf. She is my team mentor and consulting person. I apologize, I am a little nervous this time around. And our team consultant. And Jane has been working hard in this community for 1.5 years with our team. Jane has built relationships and laid the foundation for the job that I do. And the job that I do, I love. It's a great job. I get to go out and talk to people in every corner of this county. And I do it because I really do love people. I care about them. And the folks at Carnation Solar do as well. And lately, when I've been talking about the last 2 months, I've come across this large swath of people who actually support Carnation Solar. And over the last 2 weeks, if you check the docket, right here in my hands right now are 1,000 letters of support for the Carnation Solar Project. On the docket, as it sits, last night was 849 in support, 381 in opposition. And folks, when I'm out there talking to these people, I hear what they're saying. And I hope that you hear their voice too and choose not to oppose this project today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to add this to the record.
Hello, my name is Joe Baldwin, and I reside at 231 West 9th Avenue, Columbus, Ohio. And my name is Joe Baldwin, and I'm the Rural Projects Coordinator at Ohio Citizen Action. We are a statewide nonprofit that works to protect the environment and consumer rights. Over the last 2 months, we've collected 100 handwritten letters from Fairfield County residents to the Ohio Power Siting Board in support of the Carnation Solar Project. And I have some copies of them today to leave with you for your records. And I'm here to share with you some of the things your constituents have shared in this letter.
Faith from Pickerington stated that she's excited to support local solar development to bring clean, affordable energy to the state of Ohio, to support local farmers as they lease their land, to increase energy options in our homeland, and reduce the U.S.'s reliance on foreign energy imports. The most important thing to her is how it creates local jobs and the direct tax generation to Fairfield County. Aaron from Baltimore is open to the projects because they give people the option to choose this for their land. Chris from Baltimore said that farmers should be able to make a choice on how to use their land and that the people should have a say in these decisions. Lastly, Katie from Pickerington said that in Violet Township, it was important to her as a homeowner and property owner because the freedom to choose what is right for her family on her land is vital. We urge you to refrain from passing a resolution opposing the Carnation Solar Project. Members of the community have submitted their comments in support of this project, and it is only fair that the Board of Commissioners take those voices into account before making a decision that could impact the livelihoods, choices, and futures of so many in Fairfield County. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
What did you say? You have apologies.
Joe Baldwin, J.O.
Thank you.
It's pretty.
We having fun yet? Good morning, Commissioners. Good to see a couple of familiar faces in the crowd. Nick Bundren. I live at 620 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio. And I've been coming up here for the last couple of years through the nonprofit I work for, the Ohio Land and Liberty Coalition. And throughout the years, I've really started to enjoy coming down here, talking about property rights, economic development. But today I'm going to talk about neutrality and why it seems to make sense in this current situation. There's a lot of people in Fairfield County. If you try to fit 1% of the people who reside in Fairfield County in this building, in this room, you couldn't. Wouldn't be up to fire code. But with that being said, we need to consider everybody in Fairfield County here because projects like this affect everyone. Whether it's directly because we've got some landowners in the building, or indirectly through the schools, through the funding mechanisms, through the county's budget. We need to consider everybody's voices here, and we also need to respect the process that is currently being worked through the Ohio Power Siting Board, of which the commissioners do have a say and are heavily involved with. So I would just briefly say neutrality sounds good. Thank you.
Good morning, County Commissioners, elected officials, and county leadership. My name is Ryan Erickson. I live at 201 South High Street. Lots of information has been said, and lots of information and certainly will be said. So I hope to give you 2 minutes back with my 3 minutes. I just wanted to say that the process for the Ohio Power Siting Board for this project or any other project that comes before them is purposely complex, lengthy, and arduous. For exactly the reason of all the information that's shared here today. There's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of information to consider. I encourage the commission to take full advantage of that process and the information that it's designed to put in front of you. The staff report is the next point of the OPSB process, which will be out in late July. I would like to clarify that the July 18th deadline for action on part of the commission is for inclusion in the staff report. And if you avail yourself of the process and the staff report, you still have plenty of time before the adjudicated hearing or any decision to take a position as a commission. I think that I would encourage you to, again, avail yourself of that process. The staff report will process, will encapsulate, will summarize all of this information that has been put before the OPSB, all of this information that has been submitted to them via public comment and is reflected on the docket, and provide you the best opportunity to make a decision in an informed capacity without limiting your ability to take action. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the Carnation Solar Project?
Just while we're having people come up, might have seen I just whispered something to Commissioner Fix. What I whispered was just a little personal request for legal recess between proponents and the opposition.
He's got to pee.
It's something completely different.
Good morning. My name is Esther Cox. I live at 265 Timber Ridge Drive, Pickerington. I'm here with 3 out of my 4 children, 3 of which who are school age and obviously 1 still coming up. And we are interested in this project for their future. We need to diversify our energy consumption and way of getting it. And we spend a lot of time as our family working for native plants and pollinators. And we have a third of an acre to work with. So we're talking about backyard conservation and the impact that that has had on just these 3 children. I'm not counting him. The 5-year-old is at ballet camp, so she's not here. But my kids can tell you so much information about the difference between honeybees and carpenter bees and bumblebees, monarch butterflies, and other pollinators that really rely on plants that people are ripping out and poisoning at an alarming rate, because we're losing all of that to the infrastructure and city and housing. And if people aren't doing backyard conservation, we really don't have a home. And so this is an excellent opportunity for a chance to start a native safe haven. And then additionally, I like to point out that this project generates a lot of tax money without increasing the population. Pickerington is absolutely exploding. My kids have been redistricted from their schools to new schools because they cannot fit in their school anymore. And we are looking down the barrel of another school levy that may not pass because we haven't passed one in quite a while. And we desperately need the extra money to go into the county systems, the roads, the bridges, the schools, which benefit everybody without adding more people. I mean, I'm all for people moving and whatever they need to do to better their own families and situations. But this would be a little pocket that would be protected from that. So I urge you to consider the fact that this wouldn't go towards real estate and housing development.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the Carnation Solar Project? All right, we are going to take a 5-minute recess. We'll get back in here at 10:38. We are in recess. Thank you. Back in session. Thank you all for your patience. All right, we're going to go ahead and hear for people who are opposed to the Carnation Solar Project. Again, we ask that you step up to the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes if you would. Hi, Sherry.
Beautiful. Hi. Sherry Pimer, 3464 South Bank Road, Millersport, Walnut Township. I'm going to talk a minute about Eastern Cottontail, which leads into Carnation. We have been, for the last 3 years since we've known about the project, it's actually been going on for 5 or 6 years that people didn't know about. We've all been guinea pigs. The people of Walnut Township, the people of Amanda Township, commissioners, prosecutors, the township trustees, zoning, you name it, we've all been guinea pigs. And we have been on this circle treadmill that the guinea pig runs on. And we've been running for years. And it's time to get off of that treadmill, off of that wheel, and do something about it. I've heard people talk about the process. As we know in Eastern Cottontail, the process is flawed, the OPSB process. Not one board member was at any of our hearings, and not one board member was at the adjudicatory hearing, the evidentiary hearing downtown. How can they make a decision and they haven't even heard the testimony? They could read it, but most of them probably don't. The two adjudicatory or the administrative judges are the ones that they've been there the whole time. And they will read additional letters, they'll read the testimony over and make their decision on their opinion. And then they give their opinion to the board members. That's how the decision is made. The board members will read the judge's opinions. During our testimony, very few of EDF's witnesses had ever even been to the project area. In 3 years, they had not been to the project area until that week. Some had never been to the project area at all. Their analyses were done on a desktop analysis. So they did their analysis on computers without going to the neighbors, without going to the land, without walking the land. If you actually heard the testimony, people would understand better how this process does not work.
Please conclude your remarks, Sherry.
I am asking you to please, and you're the final cog in our wheel, to sign a letter in addition to the Eastern Cottontail Project, even if it's a vote of two yeses and 1 abstain. That's fine. OPSB will look at that. The 2 judges will look at that.
Please conclude your remarks.
Please do not allow the Amanda people to go through what we went through. Please vote to oppose their project and sign a letter to oppose ours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning. My name is Cheryl Kohler. I live at 10580 Ridge Road. I'm within 300 feet of the proposed Carnation Solar Project, and much of the project area is visible from my back patio. Today, I speak to you not only as a lifetime member of the community, but for the nearly 700 official members of Protect Amanda Township Incorporated. 96 of those members live, farm, or own property adjacent to the project, and another 233 live within 1 mile of the project. Our lives, as well as many others, will be forever changed if this project is allowed to proceed. Protect Amanda Township began in April of 2022 when we first learned of a land lease for a proposed industrial solar project. Since that time, we have worked hard to educate ourselves, the community, and the Amanda Township trustees, and you, the commissioners. Our goal has always been to try to make sure that everything is factual and research-based. We first went to the trustees May 9, 2022 at a meeting in Amanda Township Firehouse with standing room only. All spoke were in opposition of the industrial solar in Amanda Township. The trustees agreed to write a resolution. We then had members come to you following on the week of May 17th and express their concerns. In more than 3 years since then, we have attended dozens of commissioner meetings, personally and even virtually. We have spoken to you more than 60 times. We have invited you to come to our porches and to experience and understand how our community is what at risk that we could lose. At the June 13, 2023 meeting at Amanda Clear Creek High School, well over 100 people attended. Two union members spoke in favor of industrial solar. 16 people from Protect Amanda Township went up and spoke against the project. The crowd was obviously overwhelmed, opposing the project. We have continued to speak with you while trying to respect your time and the widespread scope of running Fairfield County. We applaud the passage of the exclusionary zones. We have had members attend the majority of the monthly trustee meetings since May of 22. We have done our best to keep the trustees informed as we have learned about the project, the impact of the 1,700-acre project, and about the Ohio Power Siting Board process. We held 2 informational sessions where we invited the community, the trustees, and the commissioners, and many other members of the public who wanted to attend. They both were very well attended. The members of Protect Amanda Township and the impacted community still have the concerns we shared with you over 3 years plus about how the proposed Carnation solar project would ruin our beautiful rural agricultural community. We are asking you to join the community and the Amanda Township trustees today and officially pass the resolution asking the Ohio Power Siting Board to deny the proposed project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Scott Barr. I live at 10830 Swope Road in Amanda Township. I've been a longtime English teacher. I'm heading into my 50th year of teaching, currently at Ohio Christian University. While I teach English, I love history, and my family has lived on the same farm for over 200 years. Having just passed the 4th of July and now looking ahead to America 250, I'd like to focus on the historical aspect of this project's impact this morning. Let's do a little time travel, and I'm going to take 3 stops. First, 1775, 250 years ago from now. And it was in 1775 that actually the first battles of the Revolution were fought, including the Battle of Concord Bridge. And a lot of us, perhaps from school days, remember a line from Emerson's poem about that battle, where once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. We can identify with those embattled farmers. And that's particularly meaningful to me and perhaps to some of you too, because I have 2 Fairfield County ancestors, Thomas Cole and Andrew Barr, my 5 great-grandfathers, who were Revolutionary War veterans. Fast forward 100 years to 1875. I love coming into this courthouse, and as I've sat here at the meetings, my attention especially has been drawn to the illustration framed on the wall there. And a lot of you probably know that comes from the 1875 Combination Atlas of Fairfield County, Ohio by L.H. Everett. I have a copy here. I have an original copy at home that my grandpa gave to me, which is very delicate. But there in the first pages of the atlas, we have the same picture that's there on the wall. Why? Because we take pride in our heritage, our history, and people in the past and currently have expended money and sought to preserve the good from the past.
Scott, you've got about 30 seconds.
I got 30 seconds. I'll also point out, as I speed up my time travel here, that there's a picture in the atlas of my ancestors on the farm where we live, Thomas and Rebecca Swope, on Swope Road. So if you look through this atlas from 100 years ago, you can see that people took pride and sought to preserve their farms and their homes. Fast forward now to 2025, where we've got lots of residents that live on the same farms, that have family history here, that are seeking to preserve and protect our heritage and our legacy for the future. So, like our forefathers, we hope that you commissioners will sign your John Hancock's to the resolution declaring our independence from industrial solar. Thank you.
Hello. Morning. My name is Erin Trott. I don't know how I got to go after Scott because he chooses his words very well. I don't, but my husband and I got together and last night and decided we were going to condense my speech because I ramble a little bit and I get a little bit emotional. So I'm just going to read it if that's okay with everyone. My husband, Rick and I have spent the last 4 years renovating the Lyman Allen Historic Home on State Route 188. This home was built in 1855 by Lyman Allen, the descendant of Ethan Allen, a Revolutionary War hero and politician, and was part of the Underground Railroad as well. Along with many of our Amanda Township neighbors, we have all experienced prolonged high levels of stress and anxiety over these proposed solar fields. We were unpleasantly surprised to hear that our home, along with many other country homes, would be surrounded by glass solar panels about 3 months into our construction. The lack of transparency from the solar company only exacerbated our fears and concerns. We bought this home for the peacefulness and beauty that surrounds it and the deep history. Our home is among other historic homes in Amanda Township will also be affected by this large solar industrial fields. It is not compatible at all with historic homes, let alone any farm property at all. We tried to envision that our views would what they would be like, and it's devastating. One of the other big concerns is reduction in property values for everyone in Amanda Township, but especially those of us who will be bordering this development. My husband and I are big proponents of property owners' rights, but not when they adversely affect another person's property in such an impactful way. I could discuss many more detriments like soil erosion, possible flooding, contamination, and many other unknowns, but my time is probably close to being up, and those have been repeatedly addressed. My heart goes out to those wonderful neighbors who have been here for generations and how this would completely change their lives negatively. Choose to live in the country for a reason, and solar fields would not be one of the reasons. We are asking the 3 commissioners to hear the concerns of residents of Amanda and block these solar fields in our community. And when I stand here and listen today, Geronimo speak, and all the people speak for caring about the farmers and their leased lands, I didn't hear any concern for the citizens who live around it, or this has been pretty much just thrust upon us. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would be next?
Name is Craig Whitelick. I reside at 1915 Cedar Hill Road, Amanda, Ohio. I have farmed since 1970. I'm a 3rd generation farmer. I have lived at the same location on Cedar Hill Road for 6+ years. My property is adjacent to the proposed solar site. I have dealt with 3 pipeline companies, 2 electric companies, and each of their cleanup crews since the 1990s. With every project, roads will be installed to accommodate construction and maintenance phases. Geotextile and limestone gravel will be installed as these roads. This makes the cleanup very difficult after heavy equipment have run over these roads. Cleanup crews bid these jobs. Their purpose is to get in, get out, and get paid. Big business. I have 2 parcels of land that solar will impact greatly. 115 acres east of Cedar Hill Road, 98 acres south of Westfall Road. I know what damaged tile can cause, and the solar project cannot possibly fix all the tile that is damaged. If tile's damaged, it will either blow out or suck water in. Neither is good. Water blowing out can cause erosion and flood damage because the water is under pressure. Water sucking in can cause a sinkhole. If soil is contaminated where the sinkhole is, water will be sucked underground, dumped into a stream or creek, then into the river. We are dealing with 2 watersheds here, the Hocking and the Cider River. My records indicate through the years that I have filed 827 acres. On a 50-foot spacing, that is 872 feet of tile in an acre. At a minimum, I have installed 721,144 feet of tile, or 136.58 miles. I feel I should know something about tile. I feel the tile will be damaged. The compaction from these roads will be irreversible. I ask you to help us protect this fragile, pristine area of Amanda Township.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Randy Evans. I'm one of the owners of Clear Creek Country Vineyard at 9214 Westfall Road. And for those who've never been out there or understand our property, we are part of an original family farm, probably about 130 acres, that was subdivided off and the vineyard was put in out there. It's on 6.5 acres. And my father's property surrounds that property. My brother-in-law used to live right beside us. My sister-in-law does now. But that's the only thing that will separate the west side of the property from these solar fields. But this will touch on part of our property. My father's property will go up one side and surround the back of it also. So we had an opportunity to sign up for this money machine that is being presented to everybody out here. But we chose not to because obviously one of the effects it'll have, nobody really travels out to a country setting to say, hey, let's go look at the beautiful, beautiful solar field that's going to be part of our view around our vineyard, because we market a peaceful country setting for people to really come and enjoy. So the effect that it'll have on our business, there's really no way to determine, but I don't know. Start marketing, hey, come look at solar, I guess those who support it would probably come. I've heard some talk about the bees. That's one of the first things I've heard. We have 30 acres of my father's farm set aside in wildlife cover. Never once have we been approached by anybody about putting beehives out there, which I would assume be more than welcome. There's part of that property that has wildflowers on it, which would be perfect for it, but not one person has approached us on that. So it seems like we got to have solar before we can have bees. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So marketing, I studied marketing and I've been in the finance industry for almost 40 years. I look at how this project's being marketed, And our friends at Geronimo Energy decided to, I guess, convince people that, hey, an overwhelming number of people that will not be affected by the long-term effect of construction and the view of this is the only way we can market this thing. That and money. Look at it, money is the only thing they have to sell. And pricing property values and property taxes going up. I know everybody needs money, but how much money do we need? And at one point as a business owner, got another business besides Vineyard, you have to manage it. You have to keep expenses under control. At what cost do we destroy somebody else's property so somebody else can make money? Because those that are supporting this are unaffected. I've not seen too many signatures, if any, that people that are directly around this projected site that have supported it. In fact, I know they were going door to door gathering signatures of support in Pickerington and Baltimore, but we've not seen anybody around our area
Please conclude your remarks, sir.
to support this. So I guess the things that we would like to encourage you is to protect our values, because it seems like when they're promoting property rights, they're promoting unrestricted property rights. Actually, a case could be made that we have no property rights if there's homeowners association and zoning laws. In fact, it could be made that maybe you don't even own your property as long as you're paying property taxes.
Please conclude your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is David Ford with my wife Nancy. We live at 1782 Cedar Hill Road, Amanda. I'd like to come at it a little bit differently. I come from a firefighter, first responder aspect. 33 years as a firefighter here in Lancaster. 17 of it was either assistant chief or chief. So I've done a lot of site plans, a lot of plans review, worked with building departments. And so I called the just recently retired fire chief from Amanda last night. And I said, tell me a little bit about your inspection program, your plans review, your site review. He says, we don't have that. He said, I'm a full-time firefighter somewhere else. I just retired. He said, I can't think of anybody on my department that has a Ohio fire certification, not one. Right? Now, what we're building out here is an industrial complex, like it or not. So what you're asking firefighters who aren't even paid to pull up on a 1,700-acre industrial complex that is charged with electricity that never truly ever goes off. You can't isolate one of those DC or one of the inverters, the grid inverters. And so what they're telling us, what these guys won't tell you is no one's going to put those fires out, right? Greg just talked about the access. Are those fire access roads, or are they just maintenance roads? Because okay, yeah, sure. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna twitch. Anyhow, that's fine. I'll look at you. So anyhow, are those fire access? We don't have. Amanda Township does not have a plans review that's going to check the hammerheads, the accesses. All of those DC or those grid converters are going to have 20-foot towers with cameras, right? So we're going to have a whole bunch of those little inverters in the fields out there. There's no water supply, not that you would ever put water on a fire. So what that's going to do is they're going to pull up and they're going to sit. They're going to sit until one of these guys comes from wherever, and shows up. So what's going to happen is we're going to let it burn, or they're going to let it burn, right? And then we're going to have to deal with the cleanup, just like it had in several other locations. And another thing I found out, which I found out and it really infuriated me 2 months ago, and no one here from the expert side has even mentioned it. Maybe you've heard about it. But all of these, 78% of these grid inverters come from China. You aware of that? Maybe not. Anyhow, finally, somebody with an engineering degree from our country tore those apart. And I've got the articles for you, and Anya will give you one as well. But they found undocumented or undisclosed communication devices, and it was reported by Reuters and everybody else, from China. Now, China would have reported that, right? But they didn't. So we're talking about having a great grid system, yet we're taking an adversary and allowing them to supply our inverters, the biggest aspect of this project, and putting it in our and expecting them to be good guys about it. I'm sorry, no way. That is wrong. I don't know if you knew about that, but it's amazing to me. So anyhow, let me get back to my sheet. So we're a small volunteer department. We have no fire prevention bureau. Let's say this plan gets approved and it goes forward. once the final life safety inspection is done, and that means building department, which I don't even know if from the county would have the expertise to make sure all of this electric stuff is done right. I know no one from the fire department would. But once it gets approved, who inherits that? It's the fire department. The fire department that has not one certified fire safety inspector. So we are not prepared for this kind of situation.
Please conclude your remarks.
Okay, real quick. Talked about the grids. Anyhow, we need your help, guys. We really do. No one's for it. We did not pay anybody to go out and get signatures. Everything we did was by our own devices. So I love my county. I've lived here my whole life. I'm telling you, from a first responder, it would be a dangerous situation. And I hope I didn't forget something, but fire reports. They say that the incidence of fire reports are low. Let me tell you, it's the National Fire Incident Reporting System that everybody that wants a grant from the federal government has to report on. And the only training they get is from the fire departments. And there's articles, and I've got those as well, that they're underreported by a lot. Australia says they've had a six-fold increase in solar fires. But we're not reporting it because the National Fire Administration says they don't isolate it that way. So,
Please.
done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. If it's still morning, we've been here for a while. My name is Caitlin Fisher, and I live at 10755 Ridge Road Southwest, which is half a mile away from the proposed site. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 kids, and I'm a licensed independent social worker, actually at the Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging. COAA that we mentioned earlier. I serve older adults in Fairfield County. I mentioned my line of work because I typically advocate for the vulnerable populations that I serve. But today I'm here for my family and my neighbors. Today I'll be sharing with you a letter that I submitted to the OPSB last Tuesday. Between the rain showers this morning, I took a 2-mile walk with my 2 young kids in tow. I have a 3-year-old son, and my daughter turns 5 weeks old tomorrow. Hence the emotion. My toddler recently found his voice, so we talk a lot about what we see and hear throughout the day. On our walk this morning, we saw one other woman walking, 2 bicyclists, 1 man doing yoga on his front porch, 4 turkey, 6 deer, and 8 cows. My son has been calling them cowbells since we watched Ferdinand the weekend before. We heard birds chirping, a creek flowing from all of the recent rain, and a few bugs buzzing in our ears because Mom forgot to grab the bug spray before we left the house. What we did not see on our walk today were any vehicles on the road. We typically pass 1 or 2 in a 40-minute time span, and they're usually our neighbors that we know by name. But there were none today. We did not encounter any large construction vehicles that would make their way through Amanda Township should a 1,700-acre industrial solar plant be erected on prime farmland. We did not hear the loud construction noise that would last from sunup to sundown if this project were to be approved. We did not see the glare of solar panels in front of us as we crested the hill. Solar panels that would blind not only us on our walk, but the man doing yoga on his front porch and all of our neighbors as we drive to and from our homes. On our walk today, we lost track of how many signs we saw that said, "No industrial solar putting on farming." My 3-year-old can't count that high yet. We've had the same sign displayed in front of our house since we moved here just over a year ago. It's obvious that this community opposes an industrial solar plant in Amanda Township. I kindly request that you consider the negative impact that this project would have on my family and community. While I see the benefits of solar energy in an ever-changing world, I'm unable to see any positive impact that such a project would make in Amanda Township. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Then I have pictures.
Thanks.
I tried to edit mine. I couldn't talk fast enough in 3 minutes. So, good morning. My name is Beth Cottrell, 3535 Cedar Hill Road, Amanda. As you know, my husband and I live less than a half a mile from the proposed project. Much of the proposed project is in our view shed. Today, I would like to talk with you about the disruption and danger the construction traffic will bring. Construction is estimated to last 18 months. We know it can last much longer. To respect your time, I've given you a paper with the details of my concerns, and I'm just going to mention a few things.
Carnation Solar's application discusses delays and inconveniences for local drivers, from an estimated 6,000 to 8,000 trucks and vehicles for this project. And to point out, the proposed route takes every one of those past Caitlin's house, every single one of them. These extra vehicles will be on our rural, narrow, and in many cases, hilly roads. The increased road noise and road damage will be horrible. However, today I'm going to focus on the buses. The report states that one bus was observed during the field evaluation and that impacts to school bus routes will be minimal. The people doing the analysis may have only seen one bus, but I found out quite easily that a total of 7 bus routes, each doing 4 trips a day, travel those roads on the proposed construction route. That means there are essentially 28 buses a day on this proposed route. There are at least 88 times per day that a school bus is at one of these intersections. Several of these intersections are near hills or a curve. Intersections on State Route 188 are especially of concern. The intersection at 188, Cedar Hill Road, and Westboro Road is a particularly tricky intersection. All of us that live there know we have to be careful going through there. The buses average at least 80 stops per day. Notice that these stops are children. When the buses cross these intersections, they're carrying children. The overwhelming increase in heavy truck traffic will put children in danger. We ask you to pass the resolution asking the Ohio Power Siting Board to deny the Carnation Solar Project, not only to protect our tranquil rural community, to protect our children who are getting on and off the buses daily. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Beth.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Pam Elder. I live at 10590 Stout Road, Amanda. I live about 300 feet or so from the project we're discussing today. I'm 63 years old, and I have lived at my home or my parents' home, which is next door to mine, for all of those 63 years, with the exception of 18 months. My father is the primary farmer. My grandfather was previous to him. So it's definitely going to affect my entire family as far as being subjected to what this project is going to cause. So in addition to that, I am a Tees Valley school bus driver, and I drive the routes that Beth just discussed. The impact as far as the safety, I'm extremely concerned about. I've been a bus driver since October of 1996, and I have been an onboard instructor for Tees Valley School District since December of 2017. My primary purpose in that role is training new drivers, new van drivers, but it's also the safety aspect. We have monthly safety meetings that we discuss various topics. I have some statistics I would like to give you that I pulled from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Work zone crashes with buses involved. A large truck is considered gross vehicle weight rate would be greater than 10,000 pounds. Riddle Road, which I don't know if you're familiar with, is basically a one-lane road. So that would require the bus driver to either be held up during the routes. We are basically on the road from 6 in the morning until 9 a.m. and then in the afternoon, 2:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. We run high school routes first, then we go to our elementary schools and pick up the elementary students. The afternoon, we're on a much tighter schedule because we don't have as much time to get the kids delivered and then to our various elementary schools. One of the statistics that I wanted to specifically mention In 2021, 55% of work zone related accidents happened in a construction zone. 80% fatalities in construction zones were directly impacted either a driver or passengers in the other vehicle, not the construction vehicle. Now, granted, school buses are supposed to be considered safer because of the way they're constructed. But specifically these roads that we're talking about, there's not enough room for the bus to get over to pass the vehicle. We deal with farm equipment, and usually our farmers are very respected and they try to help us out. And we the same with them. But these construction vehicles really, really concern me. Beth also talked about a particular intersection, and it is a very dangerous intersection. I travel that intersection through that intersection 4 times a day. I would say, an average of 45 students on my elementary route, about 32 on my high school route. So we're talking about directly impacting those children's safety.
Please
4
conclude
times a
your
day.
remarks, if you would. Please conclude.
I will conclude then, and I'm asking that you vote to oppose this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jerry Starner. I live at 9440 West Fall Road Southwest in Amanda, Ohio. Yes, I oppose the project. First of all, a couple things. Our house is surrounded. All parcels around our property are leased. And in fact, according to page 2 of Exhibit Q of their application, we are the geographical center of the project. And so naturally, we feel it's going to have a large impact on everything. Let's begin with site planning. There really is no site planning. There's no community involvement other than a few landowners under contract. The rest of the community has no idea what's about to happen. In our case, a good friend across the road was involved and knew for 2 years what was being planned and knew nothing of it. It wasn't until another farmer stopped by and said, "Do you know your home will be surrounded by solar?" And frankly, I didn't pass judgment. I had no idea what a large-scale solar facility was. I had a good friend who had a net zero home they were building, and because I'm an engineer, I was to help them figure out their solar array for residential solar. After I heard about this, I began to educate myself, and I visited Yellowbud Solar, 30 minutes from our home. My wife and I drove there and were literally shocked. I didn't sleep for days. Seeing the 7-foot high fences, top of barbed wire, removal of much of the topsoil. I came back another day after a rain. It was flooded. I had to wait for them to move hoses across the road because of moving it from one retention pond to another. It was a disaster, and we realized we were sunk. We feel that, first of all, there should be better planning and community involvement from the get-go, not based on an opportunistic money grab for something that's supposed to be a public utility. Impacts on home. All the land, as I mentioned, is adjacent land to our home has been leased. Our home was built in 1889, and it's our own oasis. We spent our own time, sweat and tears, making it our place, all for naught now. Who's going to want a home that with 1 to 2 years of construction, an estimated 60,000 pilings, which, by the way, you read the report, they say they don't give an exact number of pilings. They can tell you how many PV panels, but why can't they give us an estimated number of pilings? So I calculated the pilings by extrapolating from their Yellowbed decommissioning. And then that's the time they work, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or till dusk. What dusk today is 9:33 p.m., right? So it's all day. And then they file for exemptions and waivers and go to whatever because they say it'll be more efficient. And speaking of pile drivings, I have a video. You should hear this. I mean, tens of thousands of people. And we have chickens, goats, donkeys, all pets. What's it going to do to the animals around our area? And everybody's mentioned property rights. It's fine with me, but I feel I have the right to speak up when I know it's going to negatively impact me.
Chair, please conclude your remarks.
Okay. We've done our due diligence, participated in rewriting the rules of the Ohio Power Siting Board. I've attended Solar 101 meetings, all those things. And even I've gone back a little bit again to look at it to see if I feel better, and I don't. And it's had a really, really big impact both financially, because it's messed up my retirement, mental health in our family. So I just ask you please consider those things.
Thank you.
Road of public.
Thank you.
Morning, my name is Laura Steele. I live at 3575 Cedar Hill Road in Amanda. I wish I had time to rebut some of the things were said earlier when comments were made about if we don't build this solar field, we won't have students that will be able to learn. I have 3 kids, 2 of them are American farmers. We've had the FFA out to our farm for multiple things. We're teaching students. When they talk about hives, we've had hives on our fields. We farm the farms around this project. We have neighbors that have hives. We have neighbors that have full-time beekeeping activities. There are so many things that they're saying to you, most of them as paid employees of someone. I will tell you, this has changed our lives, those of us that are fighting it. We have jobs. Our job is not to fight this. Our jobs are day in and day out work that we have to add on to this. We've given up vacations. We've given up our retirement. We have spent hours and hours. We have come to you for years. My family, my grandchildren live as the 7th generation digging on the farm that my great-great-grandfather bought in 1909. That farm will be impacted. And whether or not my grandchildren will be able to just dig the fake pond they're making in the yard or farm that land in the future may be determined by what you guys decide today. Now, most of the people that spoke up asking you to let this solar go through the process and go through the process doesn't realize that we have spent years trying to educate ourselves and you on the process. We've tried to educate the trustees. We have gotten the trustees to understand how difficult this process is. You guys have lived through the process. You guys have looked at the thousands and thousands of pages of the reports. You've looked at everything. When we look at these reports, one of the things in there that makes me sick to my stomach is the picture of the Amanda Township Cemetery that they say will not have a view that is disturbed. They have a picture of the brush pile in the fence line close to the edge of the cemetery. That's the things that they're saying to the Ohio Power Siting Board staff. Not the fact that this view for the centuries of families that have lived in this area that have chosen to rest there will be impacted. A couple years ago, when the Amanda Township, when the commissioners meeting was held in Amanda Township, I spoke to you that night. And this is something I said. Feels weird to quote myself, but this is what I said that night. I firmly believe that the lack of opposition to this proposed industrial solar plant in our rural agricultural community by our elected officials is actually a vote of support for the companies that want to come in and permanently alter our land and our community. You guys remaining neutral is a vote in support of that. They have paid staff to get signatures. Thank you.
Thank you. Austin, now you're allowed to speak.
Hello, my name is Austin Reed. I live at 4135 Rough Road, Amanda. I am an Amanda Township trustee, and I'm here to represent the hundreds of Amanda Township residents that will have their homes and property values negatively impacted by this project. We do not think it is fair to allow a handful of people to harm the finances of so many. I have asked the solar representatives about impacts on infrastructure and the strain on emergency services many times over the last few years. We have still not received an answer to those and many other questions. The Amanda Township Board of Trustees have passed resolutions to intervene in opposition to this project and ask the county commissioners to do this. This project will dramatically change Amanda Township for decades to come and possibly longer than all of our lifetimes. We would greatly appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would be next?
I'm not a public speaker, but I feel like I need to have my say.
Your name and address, please, ma'am.
Linda Warner, Werner. I'm just a little old lady who lives at 9575 West Fall Road, and I am against this construction of the Carnation Solar Project. I don't want solar panels when I look out my front door for the rest of my life. The whole front of my property will face on those solar panels. They say they're going to put wildflowers and beehives. You don't need a solar field to plant wildflowers or grow or have bees. You just need some farmland, not a solar field. I don't want to see the destruction of our roads by big trucks and machinery. I don't want to hear the noise. I don't want to breathe in the dust. And I don't want to have to clean up the dirt. I don't want our accessibility to medical or fire emergency help, if needed, to be compromised by the construction and destruction of our roads. I don't want our natural environment and our peaceful existence to be destroyed by this solar industrial plant. I don't want my friends and neighbors and myself to have to live the rest of our lives in the midst of an industrial solar site for years to come. My son was at the farmer's market last Saturday in Lancaster, and a paid guy came up to him and tried to get him to sign a petition in favor of solar, and I cannot repeat what he said to that guy. All these people who have signed these papers in favor of solar, I bet they've never been down Westfall Road. They've never been anywhere in our township where this solar is going to be. They understand that they're going to get some money, and that's all they're thinking about, money for whatever things they're interested in. But they're not interested in the farmland in Amanda Township, and we are. And I hope you do not approve this solar project. I hope you rule against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would be next?
No, I'm not. Hello, I'm Francis Martin. I live at 9370 Cattail Road, Northeast Pleasantville, Ohio. I don't envy you, men. You vote to oppose this, not to oppose it. You're going to have a whole lot of upset people. If you do oppose it, I'll be happy for Amanda, very happy for Amanda. But I'm going to be sad. Because you chose one and not both. We're in the same fight. Same reasons. Everything is the same, other than 2 locations in Fairfield County. So I ask for a letter also. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Who would be next? Going once. Okay. The last part of this is if there's anybody who's neither in opposition to or in favor of, but just wants to be heard, this would be your opportunity to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak that is not in favor of or opposed to? Okay, well, I gotta say how much I appreciate the way all of you have conducted yourselves today, both for and against. Appreciate all the heartfelt comments that you've made, and look forward to moving on with this. So further discussion, I'm going to start with Commissioner Davis, and then I'll speak, and Commissioner Davis or Commissioner Levesey would like to go last.
Years, I'm working for the oil companies. I get paid put on people. In the last 15 years or so of that career, I spent assembling very large groups of landowners in half of projected pipeline projects. Not to oppose the projects, because those projects have the power of eminent domain, but to maximize their profit from having to experience that pipe and to minimize the burden through the drafting of the easements and the protections for the landowner's pipelines. That career, that we have a national policy as it relates to natural gas, for example. And it's codified, there's a system. The federal government, in fact, gave its awesome power of eminent domain to the natural gas industry. That's the policy, isn't it? And we have a national policy as it relates to oil. I have a national policy as it relates to oil. Okay, we had. I've heard people say over the years, I'm Republican, not that it matters, but mostly Republicans say this. They say, I'm for all of the above. They talk about energy. What they really mean is I'm here to protect coal, natural gas, and oil. But I'm going to say all of the above because oil, natural gas, and coal are all of the above. So their support for renewable energies is kind of fake. They say they're for it, but it's just to protect the other energy sources. What I wish for is a national policy on energy collectively, holistically. The nation needs power. I look at power kind of similarly to how we look at water or sewer or roads. We need power, and that power should be provided under the auspices of policy. Policy should be designed to meet the expected needs for energy, which all be operating under. But we're not. So the state of Ohio had some energy policies, not an energy policy, but some slivers here and there. Basically, I guess the feds have kind of kicked the solar can down the road to the state. But the state didn't want that responsibility. So they created, at Bill 52, a system that was designed to be the process for resolving these issues. Look at that system on paper, it looks one way. And then if you experience that system in practice, it feels very different. So as the law reads, out of the Power Siting Board, a historical structure, but under Senate Bill 52, the township and the county in which a project would be situated get a voice on the Power Siting Board. I met at the time a long time ago when I was a very young lawyer working for an oil company. And they asked me to do some research on a law that they thought might prevent their pipeline from going in. So I was supposed to do a memo explaining how this law works and whether it was truly detrimental to the potential object I wrote the memo, I gave it to the company, the memo said you can't do it, law said you can't do it, you're screwed. Lawyer's words. And I gave my boss, the whole company, I wasn't an employee, but still had a client who was my boss, and I gave him the memo. He said, yeah, that's what we kind of figured. So now you're in charge of changing the law. It was a shocking moment to me. I spent most of my life reading the law, interpreting the law, explaining the law to other people. And this $1 billion client that says to me, yeah, we figured you're in charge of what's even going to change. It just changed the law, Jim. He's facts, you know, they can do that. And that was a shocking thing to me to learn that and experience that. I'm embarrassed handling these issues over the last 3 years. Because when I saw the law, Senate Bill 52, how it was supposed to operate, I was, again, naive enough to believe it. That it would actually look like that and feel like that and work like that. But it doesn't. In practice now, what has happened is essentially, as it is being handled, we are being made to feel like it's just us. Up or down, whatever you say goes, it's up to you. I think that's wrong. I think there should be a national energy policy. I think the state might think about having an energy policy someday too. But if the policy is we're just going to kick the can down the road and have the county commissioners decide energy policy for the state, I just think it's wrong. You know, I went through this process with Eastern Cottontail. I was the ad hoc member of the Power Siting Board. I attended nearly every minute of the evidentiary hearings and the public hearings that have been occurring. Missing nearly every minute. And if I missed something, fine, I missed something. All that, but I did go to the bathroom a couple of times during the evidentiary hearings, so I did miss a couple sentences. Every other voting member of the Power Siting Board, with the exception of Bobby Slater and I, they didn't come. People that will be voting, they haven't been at the public hearings, they weren't at the evidentiary hearings. And I asked about that. I said, well, you know, that's like a jury that didn't show up for trial and you're asking them to render a verdict or something. Why do you do it that way? And I was told that these other folks, cabinet people, I guess they are, they don't have time to sit through all these hearings. They're going to get it done. They would just be sitting in hearings all the time, you know. They're busy. That the answer. So they're going to read the transcripts. Been down that road before. I do know better than that. You don't have the time to attend the hearings because there's so many going on all the time that the odds that you're sitting in your office reading the thousands and thousands of pages of transcripts of these hearings would seemingly be low. So I kind of got myself thinking that people deciding this are going to be just told what to do by the staff, I guess. The staff's just going to be told to do what to do by us. That's our national energy policy. I don't accept the system, I don't accept the rules, and I don't accept the results. I'm in favor of solar energy. Not like that person that says, oh, I'm for all of the above. Just don't take my coal. I'm actually for it. I lived in a solar home, which I loved. I lost it, of course. Things happen. I drove an electric car that was powered by my own solar system. I encourage the county to put a solar field in adjacent to the BMV because it's a high consuming electrical facility that needs a lot of power, and I thought it'd be a good idea to have some. I think that will turn out to be incredibly valuable investment over a long time. I'm not going to go down through that. I'm just saying I'm actually in favor of solar. But I'm also not in favor of this process that we have been made to be the arbiters of, the final arbiters in some respects. If you read the law, it doesn't say, well, however the county commissioners vote, that's what we're going to do. So why don't we just put that in there? They should have just written in the law, if this is what we were going to do. County commissioners have veto power over energy projects in their town. The law I would have understood. The law would have been true and accurate as is current practice. I guess when I started my remarks, I suggested that I was embarrassed by my own conduct. I have been, to a certain extent, an architect. To a certain extent, I'm not denigrating the contribution of my colleagues, but I've been looked to a little bit by this commission for guidance on how we should do this, and I came up with this idea 3 years ago that we should give everybody a full and fair hearing, see the whole process through, let the evidence and the witnesses and the testimony come forward, and then make a sound decision based on all of that. That's just not how it works. I was wrong to have any faith at all in that process. And now I don't. So, with all that being said, I'm going to support the motion resolution that Commissioner Biggs has put on the agenda here. It's incredibly hard to take that position. I want to be clear on our record that there are many reasons why I've arrived at this conclusion on this project. I could take another 10, 20 minutes to go through this. I'm not going to right now. Just going to tell you that I'm sorry. I saw it. Suggestions I've made and tactics I thought were appropriate under the circumstances. I was wrong. Even developers, landowners, everybody that's been through this process now for the last few years. I know it's been stressful and difficult for you. I feel like I've contributed to that. I really do. Some of what I thought was right. Wish I had been more sophisticated enough to see all of this was fake. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. So normally as county commissioners, we're not put in a position of choosing winners and losers. Normally, we're trying to do everything we can to help as many people as we can in hundreds, if not thousands of different ways that we do that every week, every month, every year. Unfortunately, when our state government chose to, as Commissioner Davis appropriately says, kick the can down to us on solar projects and wind projects, we now are faced with trying to decide who's going to win and who's going to lose. Because a lot of people have invested a lot of time, effort, and money into building a project. A lot of folks who are landowners and residents of our county have signed on for their financial future. A lot of folks who, live around those areas see a totally different future than one they envisioned if this project were to move forward. No matter how we go with this, someone's going to win and someone's going to lose, and that makes me a little bit nuts. And yet here we are. We, talked, some folks came and talked about we need energy. We absolutely do. And I am cautiously optimistic that in the next 10 years, there will be other energy solutions that are presented here in the United States that put us in a different position where we don't have to have these types of conversations. I also know that in the immediate near future, there are a couple projects that will potentially tap into the natural gas that we have here in our county, the pipelines that run through our county to create electricity that way. And when this conversation first started 3+ years ago, I landed on the concept of property rights, right? Landowner, that guy, that lady, they own that 100 acres, they own that 1,000 acres. It's their right to do with it as they see fit. And over time, as I've thought more and more about that, I think about my land, my little, half-acre land up in Pickerington, and my rights. And my rights are limited by zoning, right? The city of Pickerington has zoning that says you can do this and you cannot do that. And that is designed to protect my neighbors from me being stupid or to protect me from my neighbors being stupid. And it works. In this situation, because it's a utility, zoning it does not apply, right? So if this were not a utility, if it were just an industrial program, that program would go through the zoning process in Amanda Township. All the good folks who are in favor of it would come out and talk. All the folks who are opposed to it would come out and talk. And the township zoning board would say, here's what we think we ought to do. And the township trustees would make that final decision. Doesn't apply here. And that's unfortunate. The biggest reason that I've said that I was opposed to both Eastern Cottontail and now this project are because I see a different future for Fairfield County. And I know that there are folks in this room that are anti-development, anti-building, and that there's so many bad things that come from growth, but growth is happening. Growth is coming our way. There's a new project that's underway over at Rickenbacker Air Force Base called Anduril that's going to have somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000 jobs over the next 5 to 10 years. There's no place for 4,000 or 10,000 families to live right now that would support the people who work in that place. Some of those homes, some of those apartments, some of those small starter homes, some of those single family homes are going to be built in Amanda Township. We take this land off the map, right? That makes it that much more difficult to build homes in Amanda Township and throughout Fairfield County. And so, because I think that that's incredibly important to our future, and because I think it's a failure of the system that we don't allow zoning to apply to these, I am proud to vote to oppose the proposed Carnation Solar Project. Commissioner Levis.
One difficult position to be in is to go last, because the things that I wanted to say, some of that's already been said. In October of 2021, the Senate and the House voted on Senate Bill 52 to basically throw this whole process in the laps of the commissioners. That should have never been the case. This should have been a township zoning issue, a township decision, a local decision. It should have been a county commissioner's decision. As I've listened to all of you, and I respect every one of you and your absolute wonderful opinions, I still am conflicted by two issues. One being property rights, and the second being the reason you're opposed to this project. And primarily it boils down to two things: taking of farmland, first of all, and second of all, I don't want to look at it. And quite frankly, if I were in your position, I would feel the same. But I also have to refer to property rights where a person has a right to do with their property as they should. If this were a township decision, then zoning would have taken care of that. But in this case, they didn't do that. It's a very difficult decision. It's very difficult. Matter of fact, the way I feel today and the way I thought 2 or 3 years ago has totally changed. But Dave Thomas, who was a good personal friend of mine, a founder of Wendy's, once told me, you can't figure out what to do, just do what's right. Well, in this particular case, that's not an easy decision. And with the opposition or voting for this resolution of Commissioner Fix and Commissioner Davis, it's going to pass. And the opposition to this solar project is going to go forward to the fire siting. But because I'm conflicted between property rights and the rights of all of you folks, I'm going to abstain. It sounds like a cop-out, but it's not an easy decision. It would be much easier for me to just support it and move forward, but I'm not able to do that. So thank you.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Is there any other discussion before we vote? Okay, Rochelle, please call the roll.
Yeah. Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey? Motion passes 2-0.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. You guys have been here for a long time. You've been very patient and very professional, and we appreciate that. But if you all want to clear out while we finish the rest of our business, that'd be just fine. We're going to take a 3-minute recess. Thank you all very much for being here today.
Top spot, top spot.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
7:54. Back in session. So Rochelle, back to you.
From the Commissioners, Resolution 2025-7.8.b, a resolution authorizing fund-to-fund transfers for intergovernmental agencies for the second half 2025 allocations.
Discussion? Where'd everybody go? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For the Fairfield County Auditor, Resolution 2025-7.8.h. A resolution authorizing memo expense memo receipt for reimbursement of agency share of ArcGIS online license fees for Fund 2022 REA Department.
Fairfield County Auditor, reinstate.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Fairfield County Court of Common Pleas, Resolution 2025-7.8.j. A resolution approving an account-to-account transfer into a major expenditure object category, Fund 2852, Target Community Alternatives.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. The Fairfield County Economic and Workforce Development, Resolution 2025-7.8.k. A resolution to approve the closeout of Fund 2881, Fairfield County EV Charging Station Fund.
So moved.
A successful venture.
Oh, it's fun. It's currently offline.
I'm shocked by that. Any further discussion?
Everybody in the world.
Roll call, please, Rochelle.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For Fairfield County EMA, Resolution 2025-7.8.l. A resolution authorizing the reduction in major expenditure object category appropriations for Fund 2707/8260 Emergency Management Performance Grant.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For the Fairfield County Engineer, Resolution 2025-7.8.n. A resolution to appropriate from unappropriated in a major expenditure object category County Engineer 2024 motor vehicle for repairs and maintenance.
Fairfield County.
I'll support that.
Discussion? And O&P, hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For Fairfield County Family and Children First Council, Resolution 2025-7.8.q. A resolution to request appropriations for Fund 7521 Family Adult Children First Council.
Discussion?
Bills.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For Fairfield County JFS, Resolution 2025-7.8.s. Resolution authorizing the approval of a service agreement by and between Fairfield County Job and Family Services, Child Protective Services Division, and Hope Haven Programs.
Fairfield County Jobs and Family Service, resolutions S.
Second that, if I might, Mr. President, I'm not sure what we're gonna do next because I think Job and Family Services has reached its resolution limit for the year. I would get 5 point forward, but I guess we'll worry about that later.
Hold on.
I think I support that sentiment. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For Fairfield County Regional Planning Commission, Resolution 2025-7.8.ll. Resolution to establish a drainage maintenance district for the Huron Crossing South subdivision.
So
Second.
So I thought we were getting away from creating these districts, Ani. I thought we were getting away from creating all these little drainage districts and trying to do a countywide. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Yes. Commissioner Davis?
Yeah.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For the Fairfield County Sheriff, Resolution 2025-7.8.m. Resolution approving an account-to-account transfer into major expenditure object category 2503 police revolve.
Fairfield County Sheriff.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. For South Central Major Crimes, Resolution 2025-7.8.00. A resolution to request for appropriations for receipts for MCU Drug and Law Enforcement Fund Grant 2024.
No, we did that one. We're on South Central Major Crimes. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Yes. Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Fairfield County Transit, Resolution 2025-7.8.p. Resolution to approve an application for the standard 2025 certifications and assurances for the Ohio Department of Transportation, Office of Transit, and Fairfield County Transit, and the Fairfield County Board of Commissioners.
Okay, now.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Motion passes 3-0. Payment of bills, Resolution 2025-7.8.r. A resolution authorizing the approval of payment of invoices for departments that need Board of Commissioners approval.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Levesey? Commissioner Davis? Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. The next regular meeting is scheduled for July 15th at 9 a.m.
President, if I might,
Please.
at the time and place that you're choosing, I'd like to make a maybe executive session to discuss the sale of property. Sure we don't have that ultimate motion made before we get to that, so I just wanted to remind the colleagues of that desire.
Okay. So I'll say this, we've been dealing with this solar issue for feels like 3 years now. And never in my time as a publicly elected official have I dealt with a more challenging situation. I know that, we could all look back and go back in time 3 years ago and wonder what we would do differently and how we would do it. And that's how life is, right? You learn as you go. And I think we've all learned a lot in this process. I am incredibly proud of the way that this commission has handled itself through that 3-year process. And I know this isn't over yet. There's still more to come, but I feel like we've not only maintained our professionalism, but we've approached this in a really professional manner, and we've invested time and effort into it. And I'm appreciative of both of you and how you handled it, and feel like we've done a good job with it. So I also feel like I've now, as president of the commission, officiated over the shortest commission meeting and the longest commission meeting. Anything else before the commission before we go into executive session? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion on the executive session.
Like have the commissioners, county administrator, deputy county administrator, economic development director. Is that okay, Rick? Representatives from the prosecutor's office. Is there anyone else that I should? That's my motion statement.
All those in roll call, please.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. President, I would anticipate something on the order of 10 to 15 minutes tops
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the executive session. And I know that we'll need to return and conclude meeting. So I don't know if that timeline helps people.
Yeah, so we're not going to do any business when we come back, right? So, of course. So all of you who've been diligently hanging out with us, thank you for doing so. We'll see you next Tuesday.